Listen closely, because this message might be the wake-up call you've been avoiding. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants the glory, the money, the freedom, the recognition. But the question isn't, do you want it? The question is, are you willing to pay for it? Because make no mistake, success has a price tag. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, you'll never own it. Too many people dream of success but expect it to come cheap, like something you can pick off the clearance rack. But success is never on sale. Success is earned in blood, sweat, tears, and relentless discipline. Success demands nights when you don't sleep, mornings when you rise before the sun, sacrifices of comfort, friendships, habits, and sometimes even relationships. So here's the hook. If you want success, you have to give something up. The question is, what are you willing to let go of? Let me tell you a story. A young man wanted to play professional football. He loved the game, had raw talent, and dreamed of the NFL. But while everyone else was out partying, while everyone else was hitting snooze, he was training. 3 hours in the gym, endless drills, studying film, sacrificing late nights for early mornings. He missed birthdays. He missed hanging out with friends. He missed comfort, but he kept going. People called him obsessed. People said he was doing too much. But he understood something they didn't. Success doesn't come to those who dabble. Success comes to those who sacrifice. That man's name, Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver in NFL history. And when asked what made him great, he said, "I will do today what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't." That's sacrifice. That's the price of greatness. Now think about your own life. What dream is burning inside you? Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's becoming financially free. Maybe it's transforming your body. Whatever it is, what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? Because here's the brutal truth. If you're not willing to give up something, you don't want it badly enough. Success requires trade-offs. You trade time for growth. You trade comfort for progress. You trade short-term pleasure for long-term achievement. Think about a student who wants to graduate with honors. While others binge Netflix, she's in the library. While others sleep in, she's up studying. She sacrifices fun for focus. And when she walks across that stage, diploma in hand, she knows it was worth it. Or the entrepreneur who builds his startup from nothing. He sacrifices weekends, savings, security. He hears no 100 times before hearing one yes. But he keeps going. And one day, the business that cost him everything becomes the business that gives him everything. Success demands sacrifice. And if you're not ready to let go of your excuses, your distractions, your bad habits, then success will slip right through your hands. Here's a hard truth. Success doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're broke, if you're scared. Success only cares if you're willing to pay the price. And that price is not negotiable. You can't bargain with success. You can't say, "I'll give a little effort, but I still want the reward." No, success demands everything. And until you're ready to sacrifice, you'll stay stuck where you are. Think about it like this. Imagine your dream is sitting on the other side of a locked door. The key isn't talent. The key isn't luck. The key isn't connections. The key is sacrifice. Every late night, every early morning, every ounce of effort, it all turns that key. And the more you sacrifice, the closer you get to unlocking the life you want. But here's the twist. Most people never turn the key far enough. They give up too soon. They sacrifice for a week, a month, maybe a year, and then they quit. They say, "It's too hard. It's taking too long." And so they stay locked out of their own destiny. But winners? Winners keep turning. Winners keep sacrificing. Winners understand that success demands payment in full, and they pay every single day. I want you to ask yourself right now, what am I willing to give up? Am I willing to give up my comfort, my excuses, my bad habits, my fear of failure? Because until you let go of those things, success will always be out of reach. And let me tell you something powerful. Sacrifice is temporary, but success is permanent. The pain of sacrifice lasts a moment, but the reward lasts a lifetime. There's a quote that says, "If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice." Think about that. If you're not willing to sacrifice for your dream will be the sacrifice. You'll look back one day, not at what you achieved, but at what you abandoned. So I ask you again, are you ready to pay the price? Because success demands it. And if you're not ready, that's fine. Just don't lie to yourself. Don't say you want success if you're not willing to bleed for it. But if you are ready, if you feel that fire in your chest, if you're tired of settling and you're ready to sacrifice, then get ready. Because the road will be hard, but the destination will be worth it. And this is where the journey begins. You've heard the saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. That's the reality of success. Everybody wants the reward, but few are willing to pay the price. And here's the thing, sacrifice isn't glamorous. Sacrifice doesn't feel good in the moment. Sacrifice often feels lonely, exhausting, and unfair. But success demands it anyway. Think about the athlete who wakes up at 4:30 a.m. to train while his friends sleep. He sacrifices rest. Think about the student who gives up weekends to study while her friends are at parties. She sacrifices fun. Think about the entrepreneur who risks his savings, sacrifices security, and pushes through failure after failure before finally breaking through. This is the hidden cost of greatness. Let me tell you about a young man named Chris. Chris had a vision to open his own gym. He wasn't wealthy. He worked long shifts at a factory, barely making ends meet. But he loved fitness, and he wanted to change lives. At night, when others were watching TV, Chris was writing business plans. On weekends, when others were relaxing, Chris was training clients for free to gain experience. He saved every extra dollar, skipping vacations, skipping new clothes, skipping luxuries, because he was investing in his dream. Years later, Chris opened that gym, and today it's thriving. But what people see now, the clean equipment, the energy, the success, they don't see the years of sacrifice. They don't see the nights he went without sleep, the meals he skipped to save money, the friendships that faded because he was too busy grinding. And yet, if you ask Chris today if it was worth it, he'll tell you absolutely. That's the truth about sacrifice. It's painful now, but rewarding later. You give up short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. But here's where most people fail. They say they want success, but they want to keep their comfort too. They want the body, but won't give up junk food. They want the business, but won't give up their weekends. They want financial freedom, but won't give up reckless spending. They want greatness, but won't give up mediocrity. And that's why they stay stuck. Because success is not a negotiation, it's an exchange. You give, and then you get. You pay first, and then you receive. Think of every successful person you admire. Actors, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. Behind the spotlight, behind the applause, behind the trophies, you'll always find sacrifice. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talks about how he used to wake up before sunrise, hitting the gym for hours, sacrificing comfort to build discipline. Serena Williams spent thousands of hours on the court, while others her age were out living normal lives. Elon Musk slept on the floor of his office while building his companies, sacrificing comfort to push forward. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It wasn't easy. It was sacrifice. And you have to decide, are you willing to do the same? Maybe your sacrifice looks different. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's cutting out toxic people. Maybe it's trading gossip and drama for books and growth. Maybe it's turning off the TV to work on your craft. Maybe it's saying no to nights out so you can say yes to your future. But one thing is certain, you will have to let go of something. You cannot hold on to comfort and success at the same time. Here's a story you may know. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Think about that, 1,000 failures. He sacrificed pride, time, money, and reputation. But when he was asked about his failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of sacrifice. He understood that failure is part of the price. Now, let's make this personal. Think about the dream you've been holding on to, the career you want, the business idea you've been sitting on, the transformation you've been delaying. Ask yourself, what's the price? And am I willing to pay it? Maybe the price is waking up an hour earlier every day. Maybe it's cutting off a friendship that drains your energy. Maybe it's skipping temporary pleasures to invest in your future. Maybe it's facing fear and stepping into the unknown. Here's the harsh truth. If you're not willing to pay the price, someone else will. And they'll get the success you wanted. Because success doesn't wait for those who hesitate. Success moves toward those who move toward it. There's a quote I want you to hold on to. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. Let that sink in. Every time you hit snooze instead of getting up, you sacrifice progress. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, you sacrifice growth. Every time you choose distraction over focus, you sacrifice success. So the question isn't, will you sacrifice? Because you already are. Every choice is a sacrifice. The question is, what are you sacrificing for? Comfort or success? Ease or growth? Now or later? The choice is yours. So let me ask you again, are you ready to pay the price? Because success is waiting, but it won't wait forever. By now, you understand the principle, success costs something. But let's go deeper, because sacrifice isn't just about giving up comfort. It's about transforming who you are. Sacrifice changes you. When you give up excuses, you become accountable. When you give up comfort, you build discipline. When you give up fear, you build courage. When you give up instant gratification, you build long-term success. Sacrifice is not punishment, it's preparation. It molds you into the person capable of carrying the weight of success. Let me tell you a story. A young woman named Maya dreamed of becoming a doctor. She grew up in a rough neighborhood where most people didn't finish high school. But she wanted more. She wanted to save lives. Her path wasn't easy. She studied when her friends went out. She sacrificed sleep, sacrificing weekends, sacrificing her social life. She worked 2 jobs to pay tuition. There were nights when she cried from exhaustion, nights when she questioned if it was worth it. But she didn't quit. She understood that sacrifice was the bridge between her reality and her dream. Years later, Maya graduated, put on that white coat, and walked into the hospital as Dr. Maya Johnson. Today, she saves lives every day. When people look at her now, they see the success, the respect, the title. But what they don't see is the sacrifice, the tears, the exhaustion, the long hours, the missed moments. That's the part people never see. And that's exactly why so many people misunderstand success. They want the glory without the grind. They want the destination without the journey. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. But you can't skip the middle. Success is built in the middle, between the decision to start and the moment you arrive. The middle is made of sacrifice. Think about fitness. You don't get a strong body by wishing for it. You sacrifice comfort by lifting weights, by eating clean, by waking up early to train. Every rep is a sacrifice of comfort. Every meal you skip that junk food is a sacrifice of temptation. But the reward? The strength, the energy, the confidence, it's worth it. Think about financial success. You don't become wealthy by spending recklessly. You sacrifice impulse purchases. You sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term freedom. While others show off new clothes, new cars, and new gadgets, you're investing, saving, building. Years later, you own assets while they're still paying off debt. That's the reward of sacrifice. Think about relationships. Strong marriages, strong friendships, strong families. They all require sacrifice. You sacrifice ego, pride, selfishness. You give your time, your patience, your forgiveness. That's how bonds are built, through sacrifice. The principle never changes. If it matters, it will cost you. And here's what I need you to understand. Sacrifice is not forever. The grind is temporary, but the glory lasts. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Ask anyone who has ever quit on their dream what it feels like. They'll tell you regret is heavier than any sacrifice they could have made. They'll tell you the haunting question, what if I had tried harder? Never goes away. But ask someone who paid the price. Ask the athlete who won the championship, the student who became the first in their family to graduate, the entrepreneur who built something from nothing. They'll tell you the sacrifice was worth it 1,000 times over. Here's the truth. Sacrifice teaches you to value success. When you pay for something with sweat, effort, and discipline, you treasure it more. You respect it more. You protect it more. That's why easy success never lasts. It was never built on sacrifice. So let me bring this home to you. Right now, there is something you want. Something deep down that burns inside of you. A dream, a goal, a vision. And you know what it is. Now, let me ask you, what are you willing to give up for it? Maybe it's the comfort of sleeping in. Maybe it's the friends who keep distracting you. Maybe it's the habit of procrastination. Maybe it's the addiction to entertainment, scrolling, wasting time. Maybe it's the fear of failing. Because until you sacrifice those things, you'll never step into the life you're capable of living. Think of it this way. Every sacrifice is a seed. When you plant it, it doesn't look like much. It feels like loss. But give it time, and it grows into a harvest of success. You sacrifice comfort now, and you harvest freedom later. You sacrifice sleep now, and you harvest opportunity later. You sacrifice fear now, and you harvest courage later. You sacrifice excuses now, and you harvest results later. That's the formula. That's the truth. And you know what makes sacrifice powerful? It proves you're serious. Talk is cheap. Anyone can say, I want success. But sacrifice? Sacrifice shows commitment. Sacrifice is proof that you mean it. So I'll ask you again, are you ready to pay the price? Because until you are, success will always stay just out of reach. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. The dark side of sacrifice. The loneliness. The frustration. The nights when you question if all the pain is even worth it. Because let's be honest, sacrifice is ugly in the beginning. It doesn't feel empowering when you're sitting alone at your desk while your friends are out laughing. It doesn't feel glorious when you're exhausted, broke, and barely seeing results. It doesn't feel inspiring when you're giving everything you have, and it still feels like the world isn't giving back. This is the point where most people give up. This is where they say, I tried. I gave my best. It's too hard. They convince themselves that maybe success just wasn't meant for them. But the truth? They weren't willing to keep paying the price. Because success doesn't just demand sacrifice once. It demands it again and again. It asks, how bad do you want it? Will you keep going when you're tired? Will you keep going when nobody claps for you? Will you keep going when failure knocks you flat? This is the breaking point. The moment that separates the average from the great. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to break into Hollywood as an actor. He struggled. He was broke. He lived in a tiny apartment, couldn't pay rent, and at one point even sold his dog for $40 just to buy food. Most people would have quit. Most people would have said, this is too much. The price is too high. But he kept writing, kept grinding, kept sacrificing. Eventually, he wrote a screenplay about a struggling boxer who refused to give up. That movie? Rocky. That man. Sylvester Stallone. Today, he's a global icon. But don't miss the lesson. Before the red carpets, before the fame, before the money, there was sacrifice. There was pain. There was loneliness. There were nights he wondered if he'd ever make it. That's what success demands. And if you're serious about your dream, you're going to face the same test. Success will strip away your comfort, your excuses, and sometimes even your pride. It will demand that you show up, even when you don't feel like it. It will demand that you keep paying, even when the rewards are delayed. And it will hurt. But the hurt is proof that you're growing. The pain is proof that you're alive, moving, becoming. The sacrifice is proof that you're serious. Here's the truth. Most people want success to feel good. They want it to come wrapped in motivation and applause. But that's not how it works. Success doesn't feel good at first. It feels heavy. It feels lonely. It feels like sacrifice. But here's the secret. The pain is temporary, and the pride lasts forever. Ask the Olympic champion who trained for years, sacrificing everything for one race. Ask the mother who worked 3 jobs to put her kids through college. Ask the soldier who sacrificed comfort, safety, and time with family to defend his country. Ask the entrepreneur who mortgaged his house, risked everything, and finally built a business that changed lives. They'll all tell you the same thing. It was worth it. Because that's what makes success beautiful. It's not that it was handed to you. It's that you earned it. That every scar, every tear, every sacrifice became part of your victory story. So if you're in the middle of sacrifice right now, if you're tired, if you're broke, if you feel like nobody understands, don't quit. This is the test. This is the moment that defines you. There's a quote I want you to hold on to. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. When you finally break through, when you finally achieve what you've been fighting for, when you finally taste the fruit of your sacrifice, it will mean more than you can imagine. Because you'll know what it cost you, and that price will make the prize priceless. But here's the question. Are you willing to keep paying when it hurts? Are you willing to keep sacrificing when it feels unfair? Are you willing to keep fighting when no one else believes in you? Because if you are, if you decide right now that nothing will stop you, then success has no choice but to come. Yes, it will take time. Yes, it will demand more than you think you have. But you're stronger than you believe. You're tougher than you know. You are capable of paying the price. And soon, one day, you'll look back at the sacrifices, the struggles, the sleepless nights, and you'll smile. Because you'll realize that everything you gave up gave you something greater in return. So here we are, standing at the edge of the final truth. You know success demands sacrifice. You know it will cost you. The only question left is, will you pay it? Because the price of sacrifice is heavy, but the weight of regret is unbearable. And the choice is yours. This is it. The moment where everything comes together. We've talked about the dream, the price, the pain, and the process. Now it's decision time. Because here's the truth. Success isn't waiting around forever. Opportunities don't sit still. Life doesn't pause until you feel ready. Every day you delay, every day you hesitate, every day you avoid the sacrifice, that's a day stolen from your destiny. And one day, you're going to wake up. Maybe it'll be 5 years from now, maybe 10. You'll look in the mirror, and the reflection staring back at you will ask, why didn't you try? Why didn't you push harder? Why didn't you sacrifice when you had the chance? That question will haunt you more than any sacrifice ever could. Because regret is the heaviest price of all. But it doesn't have to be your story. Not if you decide now. Imagine this. The version of you that's living your dream. The business is thriving. The body is healthy and strong. The finances are stable. The relationships are deep and fulfilling. The freedom is real. That version of you exists, out there in the future. But the bridge between the you of today and the you of tomorrow is sacrifice. Every choice you make is either building that bridge or tearing it down. You can't get there by wishing. You can't get there by waiting. You can only get there by paying the price. And yes, it will cost you. It will cost you late nights, early mornings, lost comfort, missed parties, tough decisions, relentless discipline. But let me ask you this. What's the alternative? To stay stuck where you are? To keep playing small? To keep pretending that you're satisfied when deep down you know you're capable of more? No, that's not who you are. That's not why you're here. You were built for greatness. You were born with purpose. And your life will never feel complete until you chase it. So here's the final challenge. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for easy. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Choose sacrifice. Choose growth. Choose to pay the price. Because once you do, everything changes. You'll start to see results. Slowly at first, tiny wins, small victories. But each sacrifice will stack on the last. Each choice will compound. And before long, you'll look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. You'll be stronger, sharper, tougher, hungrier. And then one day, you'll break through. The doors will open. The rewards will come. The dream will be yours. And when that happens, you'll stand tall, not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it. You'll know every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears wasn't wasted. It was invested. And the return on that investment will be greater than anything you can imagine. But you have to decide. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Because success doesn't care about your excuses. Success doesn't care about your comfort. Success only cares if you're willing to pay the price. So ask yourself, am I ready? Am I ready to sacrifice? Am I ready to give up who I am today for who I could become tomorrow? If your answer is yes, then get moving. Wake up earlier. Work harder. Cut the distractions. Cut the excuses. Make the sacrifices. Pay the price. Because greatness is waiting on the other side. And when you get there, When you've achieved what once seemed impossible, don't forget this journey. Don't forget the sacrifices. Use them to fuel others. Show the world that success isn't reserved for the lucky. It's reserved for the relentless. Because here's the truth that will never change. Success demands sacrifice. The question is, are you ready to pay the price? If you are, then go. Step forward. Take the first step. Pay the cost. And never, ever quit. Because your destiny is waiting. And it belongs to the one who's willing to sacrifice for it. So stand up. Take a deep breath. Look at your life. And declare it out loud. I am ready. I am willing. I will sacrifice. And I will succeed. This is your time. This is your moment. Success demands sacrifice. Are you ready to pay the price?